Are you a lonely parent with no life outside of your children? Welcome to this week's Ask Jay. Thank you very much for joining us again after the short break. Appreciate new set of questions. So let's get straight into this week's question. This is from Struggle Mum, we're going to call her. I'm a single mum with 2 kids. My life revolves around my kids. I love them to the moon and back, but I also get so lonely. I haven't kept in touch with old friends. I don't know how to make new ones, and it feels too hard. Can you help me? What can I do? Okay, well, Struggle Mum, I've got 5 tips that are going to make this a little bit easy. Some are obvious, some are not so obvious. So let's get straight to it. Tip number 1, the obvious one, other parents. You aren't the only one that feels exactly the way you're feeling right now. There are parents out there, dads, mums, grandparents, that all are feeling the same, because you've gone from having a life and doing whatever you wanted to having kids and having humans rely on you 24/7, 365 days a year. Yes, it's a full-time job, but like no other. It's not a 9 to 5, 5 days a week, go home on the weekend and take a break. You don't get a chance, and neither do any of those other parents as well. So the obvious choice is to go and connect with other parents, find out who's the best people to hang out with and not hang out with, because yes, there are some that want to talk about kids, and you might be going, the last thing I want to do is talk about kids. But you might want to talk about kids, so because it's a double-edged sword, so just keep that in mind when you're choosing it. Also, with other parents, you might be able to do, something for each other. So they might be able to babysit your kids or look after your kids while you're doing something for you, and you might be able to do that for them. So if you want to go out and have a glass of bubbly with a friend on a Friday afternoon to get out and about, by all means, speak to another parent and see if they can help out, and you do the same. Tip 2, reconnecting with old friends. Let's use social media, for example, Facebook, for something useful. As Struggle Mum was saying before, she hasn't been able to keep in contact with old friends. So there's been a lot of old friends she's lost contact with. Now, we all lose contact with friends and family members and work colleagues. Maybe you're missing them. Maybe getting on Facebook or something and looking them up and reaching out. I'll tell you a story that will give a perfect example of that at the moment. Because things happen. Sometimes it might have been because you got married and had kids. Maybe they were dealing with something and they lost contact. Because if you're missing them, I'll tell you now, it's quite possibly they're missing you. Now, that might sound a bit unusual. Wait till I tell you this quick story. Look, it's normal to drift in and out of contact with people. Life happens, So let's, there's nothing to lose by reaching out to these people. I'll give you a quick little story. A client of mine many years ago was telling me a story about that. It'd been 20 years since she disconnected from this friend. Wasn't even sure why they lost contact. They were both married. Their husbands worked together and so forth. And they just drifted out of contact. Now, 20 years later, she decided to look her up on Facebook, having a look through, saw her, didn't want to connect with her straight away, so decided to send her just a message through Messenger and just sort of say, hey, it's been a while, not quite sure if you wanted to, reconnect or not. I'm not quite sure what happened. If it was me, I'm sorry if that was the case. But I know that we used to have some really fun times and it's been a while. If you're interested in reconnecting, by all means, get in contact. If you don't, no hard feelings. Within 48 hours, she had a message back from this friend going, oh my God, I haven't seen you in ages. And to this day, they still connect. They're living interstate, so they don't get to see each other a lot, but they're always talking online. They sometimes have some phone calls and catch-ups because they both had kids at the same time, at the same age as well. And it's amazing because she was thinking, the friend that she disconnected from was wondering why they disconnected as well and had been missing her at the same time, but thought, oh no, I'm just being silly. If you're missing someone or thinking, I wonder what they're up to, I guarantee there are people out there that you need to reconnect with that are thinking the same thing. Get in contact with them. What have you got to lose? Tip 3, get the app, the Meetup app. Now, I'm amazed how many people don't know of this app. No, it's not an online dating app either. It is an app where there are so many different types of social group connections out there where, for example, you want to take your dog for a walk. You're in a new area and you want to take your dog for a walk, but you don't want to walk by yourself. There are dog walking groups. There are hiking groups. There are movie groups. Go see a movie once a week or once a month. There are knitting groups. There are comedy night groups. Yes, there are dating groups. There are drinking on a Friday night group. But there are so many types of groups. If you wanted to go and just have lunch and just meet other single mums, there are groups for that. And they might be area located. They might be state located. There are some where they actually go on a day tour. They hop on a bus and they go and tour areas. No, they're not just for the elderly. There are young groups that do this as well. So it doesn't matter what age you are, there is a group for you out there. It's called Meetup. It's on Android or iPhone. Get it, checked it out. And look, if you can't find what you're looking for, you can start your own. It doesn't cost anything. You go, I want to start a group where it's a lunchtime break on a Wednesday. Who's interested? And people will just start going, yeah, I'm interested, and bang. People use it for social media, for social networking groups, for businesses, for pleasure, for all sorts of things. So if you want to join a group, look it up. Get the app. It's so easy to use and it's free to use. I still can't believe so many people don't use it. It's fantastic. Give it a go. Tip 4, volunteering. If you're wanting to do something, but you're not too confident to go out and do some work or something, volunteering is a great idea to get out there. Look, because you're connecting with people and helping others. They're flexible. It fits any time, lifestyle, or anything else like that. Look, there are so many areas. Think of it. There's a lot of businesses out there would appreciate someone volunteering a couple of hours to help their business out. There's also animal shelters that want volunteers. You got Meals on Wheels. You got food banks. You got conservation. You got animal rescue. There are so many things. In Australia here we have, there's a lot of second-hand clothing stores called Salvation Army, as a lot of countries have, St. Vinny's and so forth, where they just would like someone to spend a couple of hours manning their shops. It's amazing how many people you can meet at these stores. And you can pick up a cheap bargain there too before everyone else sees them. So keep that in mind. But just realize that what you've been able to do is you're able to spend a couple of hours out of the house, maybe while the kids at school, and you're doing something where you're connecting with people and it feels good to help other people. And if you do it for a business, they may be able to give you a reference if you decide you want to do work later down the track. Which leads to tip number 5, a part-time job. Now, as I said before, being a parent is a full-time 365-day a year, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year job. But you might now, the kids are getting older, they may be going to school, and you think, you know what, I'd like to do something, but I don't have the confidence. Maybe a part-time job, a couple of hours in the local library, maybe it might be at a local coffee shop. I've noticed with a lot of coffee shops, they have people that don't know how to make coffee, but they do want someone that greets them, takes them to their table, sits them down, puts their water down and everything else, and says, someone will be with you in a moment. How hard is it to do that? You could volunteer that until you get a job. McDonald's is another great place because, the busiest time sometimes is after the parents have dropped their kids off at school. They go and have coffee and whatever between 11 and 2. They might take you on as well. So never knock yourself back and go, you know what, it's extra cash. Because I tell you now, you might not realize that you have more skills within you as a parent than you really know. You've got to stop underselling yourself. And I'll tell you why. When I use McDonald's as an example, if you go through a McDonald's drive-through, now, I'm not being sexist, I'm a guy, I got mates that have worked at McDonald's over the years and they do exactly the same thing. As a guy, it's hard for us to do two things at once. So you're taking the order and you're waiting for the person on the headset, and you're taking the order as a guy, and then when you're finished, you take the money from the person at the window. Women, you guys, you're taking orders, you're taking money, you're filing your nails, you're giving orders to someone else. How is this possible? Because as a parent, you have spent so much time organizing. I mean, you've got great organizational skills when it comes to getting kids ready for school and getting them packed, their lunches done on the bus to school and everything else. You've got patience. Jesus, which parent doesn't have patience? If you don't have patience, you could never survive as a parent at all. You've got training skills. You know how to handle money. You know how to do the bills and everything else. You have got so many skills. And yes, there are people out there that want the teenagers out of college to come work for them. But what young kids and teenagers and early 20s don't have are life skills. That connection where you really understand another human being and be able to understand what they need. Where it's not a trainable behavior. You have to learn it. And as a parent, you have spent 5, 10, 15, 20 years of using these skills. So even though you haven't been paid in a job 9 to 5, you've been working your butt off, being able to handle all that sick days and everything else. You don't get a day off. You work through it. So don't sell yourself short when it comes to thinking of getting yourself a good full-time or a part-time job. So let me go through those 5 tips again. As we were saying before, you got, and we're going to go backwards. You got your part-time job, as I said. You got your volunteering. You've got your, reconnecting with old friends through social media, the Meetup app, and also other parents. So just keep that in mind. I hope these tips have been helpful. As always, you might be someone out there that thinks of something and go, what about this? If you've got an idea that can help struggle mum, please put the comments below. She will appreciate it, and a lot of other parents who are watching this will appreciate that as well. Again, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you have a question you want to send through, always email me at jay@jasonmair.com, and hopefully you'll have your question answered on the next episode of Ask Jay. Don't forget to subscribe to the video so when the videos come out, you get notification and you get the latest tips and tricks to all the different types of relationships in your life. Again, thank you very much for watching wherever you are in the world. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.